All right, at this time we will get started with University of Missouri. We're joined today from your left by quarterback Matty Mock, offensive coordinator Josh Henson, defensive coordinator Dave Steckel, and defensive end Shane Ray. Once again, we'll just open it up to Q&A, and if you could please find a microphone if you have a question. Thank you. Going.
Okay, thanks for coming. See you guys.
Yeah.
Steck, I guess first off, just what has this period been like working for, two schools, half the day each, just kind of dealing with, all that?
Well, at first, game week, I kind of got, good Lord bless me a little bit because we were in finals week. So I went from 7 to 5 and then switched over at 5 o'clock when some people went home with their families and did 5 to 11 with the other job. And when I came down here, all that stuff has passed me now, and my whole focus has been on Missouri and having these seniors go out the right way.
Matty and Shane, you guys have been here for, what, 8, 9 days now? You guys just kind of ready to get this trip over with, play the football game?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the main purpose we came down here is to win this football game, and now we're in that 48-hour period where we're locked in and focused up, and we understand we came down here to have fun, but that stuff's over with, and like I said, it's the lockdown period, and we got to make sure we come out and play our best football game.
Josh, right here. Obviously there have been some struggles at times with the offense this year, but when you get extra time to prepare, first of all, does that allow you to do some different things, and does it give you a chance to maybe have some fun, install some plays that you've been working on, didn't get to use deep in the playbook during the course of the year, and just kind of have a good time with it?
It does. It obviously, you have a lot of time to prepare for this game. I mean, the biggest thing is to not get bored with the execution of doing some of the same things over and over. So, but we've been able to dust some things off. We've been able to refine some things. But more than anything, you kind of game plan for the game. You put in what you think you're going to run, and you get a lot of reps at those plays. So I think for the players, the challenge is more than anything is not getting bored with running the same plays over and over again. You're practicing the equivalent of almost 3 or 4 weeks of preparation for one game, which you get in a normal week for one game.
Shane, knowing that Steck's going to move on after the Citrus Bowl, do you guys on defense, have you guys started to maybe I guess appreciate the limited time you're going to have with him, from now on to the game on Thursday?
Excuse me, my allergies, coughing a little bit. But definitely, we understand that Coach Steck has a great opportunity to do something, that he's been wanting to do his whole life. And we just appreciate the time that he's given to us as players, and we just want to make sure that we send him out on a good note. And that just continues with our preparation and going out and executing for this game.
Coach Steck, you've been at Missouri for a good chunk of your life now. Has it hit you yet that this is the last game you're going to be coaching, in black and gold?
No, it hasn't. The only thing that's hit me is that bright light that's really bugging me.
What are your emotions, though, knowing this is the last game?
Same I have right now. Sir? See that? You're well read. No, my emotions will probably come after the game. Right now, the focus is the 48 hours that Matty talked about, and it's about sending these players out on a win. When it's all over and you sit back, and then there might be a sigh of relief, and then there might be some reminiscing. But until then, you got to keep focused, and that's what I preach to the players. So it's my job to stay focused also.
Steck, talk a little bit right here in the front, to your left. Sorry.
It's all right. It's these bright lights.
Yeah. Minnesota runs a lot of their offense through their tight end in terms of their passing game. Can you talk about the challenges that presents?
I think it's a great challenge. It's a really great challenge because it does. Everything goes through that young man. Number 88, I'm really bad with names, and I apologize. I mean, no disrespect because we've been studying the heck out of their video. But he's a very big, he's fast, he's got great hands, and the thing he does is he's like, to me, a basketball player playing tight end he can box people out and go up for the ball. And he's got great eye-hand coordination and stuff. So he's going to be a very big challenge. He's also a very good blocker because they run the ball really well. So a lot of their passing comes off their play action. So he's going to be a big challenge for our guys.
For Josh and Maddie, with Jimmy not available in this game, who kind of picks up the slack? Who do you kind of look to throw, on Thursday without? He's played pretty well here the last 4 or 5 games of the season.
Yeah, Jimmy has played well. He's done a great job finishing the season. Obviously had a big game in the SEC championship game and done some great things down the stretch. But we got some other guys that are going to step in there. We're gonna use some different personnels to help replace what Jimmy's done. But really at the wide receiver position, we've moved Nate Brown to that spot, who's a true freshman who's doing a really good job and has practiced really well over the last couple weeks. And Gavin Oddie, who's a senior walk-on, is really a good football player. He just hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but he's practiced extremely well. I thought he had a great practice today, didn't you, man? I mean, he really practiced great today. So those guys are going to get in there and do great. I mean, so many times it's just about getting an opportunity. So this is those guys' opportunity to step up and make some plays for the team.
This is for the two coaches. It seems like Coach Kill, wherever he goes, he really takes that program to the next level. Are either of you guys familiar with him? And I guess what do you credit that success to that he's had?
I know he's done a great job everywhere he's been, but I don't know Coach Kill personally. But I mean, you watch them on film and you respect the job that he's done because they play hard, they're well coached, they're sound, and they're aggressive. And so you watch them, and when you know the kind of job he's doing by just watching how they play on film. Do you know him, Steck?
Well, no, I don't, Josh.
Oh, okay, good.
Coaches, you mentioned number 88. Is there any other aspect of their game that you've spent time specifically preparing for?
Us specifically on defense, we have to stop the run. They do a great job, like Josh was mentioning about Coach Kill. The thing I'm real impressed with Minnesota's coaching staff that you can see visibly on film is they're very, very fundamentally sound. And they kind of run the same plays over and over, and they're so good at it. They'll disguise it by formations and stuff. So we really have to stop their running game. Number 27, I believe his name's Cobb. He's a really downhill runner, but he's got great cutback ability. So I think if we can stop the run game somehow, or at least slow it down a little bit and get him in a passing situation, then hopefully we can stick Shane and the other boys loose to get the quarterback. But our number one priority is going to have to be to stop the run. How do you feel about that, Josh? It's more fun asking the questions than answering them.
I think it sounds like a great plan, Steck.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Shane, I was just kind of curious. At what point in your life did you think that you could be a Division I college football player, / NFL draft? I mean, when did that first start entering your thought process?
I don't know. I never really thought about it. For me, growing up, it was about trying to find a way to get to school. Me and my mom had a plan, and when that plan got set in place in high school and I started working harder to get better, things just kind of started happening. And, Mizzou was the first school to come give me an offer, and couldn't turn that down. And I was able to come up here and, lucky to have coaches that were able to put up with me for a little bit and continue to work on me in my development. And, I'm just blessed to be able to be in the position I am today.
Shane, over here. Your dad and I, Wendell, he was a good friend of mine. He was a really good player at Mizzou. I interviewed him many times. He gave great answers, whether the Tigers won or lost. Can you tell me about seeing any pictures or video of your dad wearing a Tiger uniform, any advice he might have given you over the years?
Well, for a while, my motivation stemmed from my father. I wanted to be better than my dad in everything, football especially. And for the longest time, I had a lot of his old newspaper clippings up on my wall that I would just look at. And it came to a point where I decided that no longer could be my motivation. And I took those clippings down and focused on myself. And from that point on, I just started moving forward.
For both coaches, it's probably off the radar for now, but just thoughts on Barry joining the staff for you, Josh, and for Barry replacing you on the staff?
You, Josh.
Well, I think
How do you feel about that, Josh?
I think number one, we're going to get a lot younger, so energy level's going to go way up. No, I mean, you know, Barry's been here and been a part of our staff and worked with Coach Steck and worked with the other guys on staff. So I think obviously it's a great addition. You know, I think he knows Coach Pinkel's system. I think he knows how the program works, how Coach Pinkel does things, and you know, I think he'll come in and do a great job. And I know that you know, he's got a great reputation among the players on our team and among our staff, among our program. And so I think all those things are just very positive.
Dave, the Gopher staff has talked about how much they, Coach Steck, the Gopher staff has talked about how much they got out of their visit with you guys when they came up from Southern Illinois. I'm just wondering if you formed any, you know, bond with Tracy Claeys and if you've kind of followed what he's done with his defenses over the years.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's kind of like a two-part question to me because luckily we had 3-4 weeks to change our entire defense since they know what we run. I think Tracy's done a great job there. And I think, like I mentioned about their offense, and when you watch their defense play, they are so fundamentally sound, and I think that's why they've had so much success everywhere they've been. And they play the game the right way. They play with passion. I think they coach passion, and I think they coach fundamentals. So I'm really impressed by the way Tracy has done that, what he's done with his defense.
Hey, Shane, you know, sacks didn't become an official stat until I think 2000 or something like that. You're one away from the SEC single season record. How important is that to you to get there or maybe past that in this game?
I think it's important, but it's really not my focus. My focus is just to come out and, you know, execute the game plan that Coach Steck has for us, be where I need to be, and just play as hard as I can play. And I've learned that, you know, when you handle your business and do your job, you know, things fall into place. You know, you'll be where you need to be to make the play. So I'm not completely focused on it and, you know, setting that as a goal. But, you know, I'd love to, you know, to break that record in this game. But I'm just focused on doing what I need to do to be successful for this defense.
Matty, the whole conference thing can be kind of overblown at times, but because you're an Ohio guy in the Big Ten footprint, is it kind of neat to be playing a Big Ten school in Minnesota this week?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That doesn't really have a factor to what I do. But I mean, it's just that the main thing is it's another opportunity to go out there and play the game you love. And you know, we've had a great week of practice. We're ready. We're executing what we need to. And now it just comes down to this last 48 hours to really focus up, stack up on the film, and really come out and play the best game of the year and send these guys off right.
Shane, has Steck been any easier on you guys this week now that it's kind of his victory lap, or is he just about the same as he's always been?
Coach Steck doesn't change. Stays on us, demands the same kind of intensity and effort from us every day at practice. I mean, you know what you're going to get day in and day out with Coach Steck. And, I mean, that's just why he commands so much respect from, you know, all the defensive guys, because we know when it's time to go in and work, you know, that's what Coach Steck expects from us, and, you know, that's what's been going on.
Steck, how has Shane handled all this attention, whether that's, you know, on the field with more teams paying attention to him, to, I guess, even more extra attention with the media and just fans kind of knowing who he is?
I don't follow the media, so I don't really know specifically to that answer. But I know this, that the last time I've spent with Shane since he's got here and walked in fact, he was reminiscing and telling a story in the van on the way over here, which I have no recollection of, but I believe it to be true. You know, you see a young man just grow up before your eyes. That's the great thing about college football. These kids come from high school and they don't know if it's Tuesday or Chicago, and they grow up in front of your eyes and they mature as young men, and it's really exciting. And Shane's actually a product of that Mizzou-made product that we talk about. How he's come in here, he's worked hard, he's taken care of his academics, and he's really grown up through the program. I'm really proud of him.
Matty, I wanted to ask you, you know, how much can a game like this maybe be a springboard for you to bigger, better things in the spring and looking forward to next year? I mean, do you look at it like that at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not focused on next year at all by any means, but it definitely is a stepping stone for me. It's another opportunity, like I've said. But every day I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get better, and that's the good thing. I have coaches that aren't going to let me slack off. They're always going to be on me. I mean, Coach Henson's always in my ear. Coach Hill's always in my ear, and it's not to tear me down or anything. It's to get me better. And for me, I need to come out here and play my best game and move into the spring and continue to get better so we can continue this. I mean, we've got 2 more years to do it, so there's no time that we can take off. We just got to keep getting better.
Coach Steck, in talking to Shane, he said he was a bit of a knucklehead when he first got to Mizzou. What do you remember about that first year? You mentioned him growing up and maturing, but what do you remember about that kid who first came to you?
He has to shave now. Shane's just like every other college student that comes here. And what I mean by that is, it's probably like if you have kids that are going off to college, they're out there to go experiment the world and they have all the answers. And then after about 1.5 years, they realize that our answers are better than their answers. And it's called maturity. And I think once Shane really realized that, his ability just took over and he bought into the program. And that's why I keep talking back and going back to how it's great to watch these kids, not just Shane and Maddie, but all these kids just grow up in front of your eyes. And they realize that there's other ways to skin a cat and they don't have all the answers. And it's kind of cool. And then hopefully they leave with more answers than they came with.
Shane, is the anecdote that you told in the van on the way over something that can be shared, or is that a kind of a secret thing?
Well, I mean, if you want to know, like I said, I was a knucklehead, and it was a spring game, and one of my teammates had gotten an interception and ran about 60 yards down the field, and I kind of walked off the field. And not because I was mad or anything, but the most important thing that we do is when we get a takeaway on our defense, we celebrate with each other. And because takeaway is important, that's what the main goal of our defense is. And that next day, Coach Steck called me into his office, him and Coach Cool, and they sat me down. And Coach Steck looked me in my eyes, and I'll just make it the PG version, but basically he told me that if I didn't buy into the program, he said, I don't care how good you are, you won't play here. And, that really, sat with me. I remember it like it was yesterday. And that was definitely one of the times where I took that in and realized I had to mature and become a better person if I ever wanted to, be a part of this football team. And, it just worked out.
Steck, this may be your final chance publicly to share anything wearing that logo. You want the floor?
I'm not a really emotional person, but unbeknownst to you people in the media, I really don't have a problem with you, even though you probably think I do. I appreciate your job and what you have to do, but my whole focus and my whole life is just about my players, and I'm going to miss them.